and good morning, everybody. Welcome to a brand new show. This is Rounding the Bases. My name is Ira Bowman. I'm your host. I have co-hosts with me. Sheila, you're still on mute there. There we go. Shiela Jones is the owner of Wicked Results. Kelly Robinson is the owner of PK Recruiting, which I still know as Panna Nose. So I'm still like, that guy. And I still probably don't say it right. She's going to tell me how to say it in a minute. Pana. Yeah, I've been butchering that name for 5 years. I'm going to probably keep butchering it forever, but Kelly loves me, so it's okay. All right. And our other co-host, the power in Minnesota, is out. You may not know this. We're in a deep, deep, deep freeze again. Minus 15 degrees in Minnesota today. So she doesn't have power. She can't join us, but she'll be here hopefully next time. The show Rounding the Bases. Look, if you haven't seen the logo, I'm very proud of this logo, ladies.
Love it.
It's
very good.
It's like a baseball. It's a baseball diamond. It's on Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. And anyways, there you go. Kelly, you like the colors?
I do.
Recognize those colors? Yeah.
I love colors.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Panano's logo, you'll see it in a bit, and it has the same basic colors. I used a little bit different red, but red, in full disclosure, is my favorite color.
Yeah.
So when making other logos for people, or when I get to choose a color, I always start with my favorite, red. All right. So we're going to do a lot of things today, a little bit different probably than what we'll do in the future. However, today, what I want to do before we get going is introduce these ladies and why they are here with me. I think most of you know me. I own and I operate Project Help You Grow. It's how Kelly and I met. However, I don't want to spend too much time talking about me today, right? I want to talk about you. I want to talk about them. So here we go. We're going to talk to Sheila. We're going to talk to Kelly about who they are, what they do. I've got their websites loaded. We're going to share the screen and bring them up so you guys can see it. But this is a job search related show. Trust me when I tell you the whole motivation of all of this is to help people looking for work find work. Or conversely, if you're an employer out there and you're looking for help filling seats, we have a we have a recruiter here too. We can help you either which way, any which way. So if you have a question about the resume, you have a question about the ATS, you have a question about, quiet quitting, I don't care what it is, right? Whatever your question, job search related, go ahead and ask us. You can ask us anytime. We will try to follow first in, first answered. So if you have your question and you already know what it is, go ahead and pop that in the comment section. Now you're saying, where can I put the comments? Well, we're live on 3 platforms. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We are on LinkedIn. You can ask me the question anywhere. It'll come in. I'll put it on, and then we will talk about it. All right. So, Sheila, just because you were the first one in my green room this morning, we'll start with you. All Sheila is the owner of Wicked Results. Wicked Results. I'm excited. Look, I got to make the logo. I got to create the website. Sheila and I are good friends. I'm excited to talk about Wicked Results. So just give us a, like 90 seconds. What is Wicked Results? While you're doing that, I'm going to pull up the website on the screen just so people can see it, and we'll go from there. Give me 90 seconds of Wicked Results.
Yeah, sure. So good morning. My name is Shiela Jones, and I'm coming from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I was inspired to start Wicked Results because I have a really strong passion for business coaching and personal coaching. I have spent about 2 decades helping people with their jobs. And one of the amazing things that I really like to do in the job space is help people craft their custom messaging for the jobs that they're trying to get to. I've helped I've spoken to about 18,000 people about jobs, and I've helped hundreds, if not thousands, actually secure positions. I've created a very unique interviewing method for my clients that helps them go through the 4 parts. Tell me about yourself, being able to answer the mid questions, coming to a very strong question space, and then being able to close out that interview with a very strong last 2 minutes of opportunity that some people miss. So that's kind of the short story of it. And I'm here today to help. I'm here to answer questions, help motivate, whatever that looks like. I'm glad to be on this job search space. 2 decades of helping people. So let's roll today.
Very good. All right. Now, if you guys haven't seen, this is the website, Wicked Results. In full disclosure, we're still building this out. So this is just phase one of a bigger a bigger vision that we have. But is there anything on the website that you want us to point out?
Well, I think the bottom line for me is um, pointing out that I have a strategy on actually what I'm doing, and I have some testimonial support indicating my success. My story starts very simply. I was a young kid and, getting my first job. And then my career has spanned over the course of multiple decades. I worked for the world's largest chocolate company, Nestle's. I worked for the world's largest soup company, Campbell Soup. I worked for the world's largest retailer, Walmart, and the world's largest dairy company called Saventia Fumage and Dairy. So I've had a lot of different.
That's the one I can't. I will never be able to pronounce that one. Kelly, if you feel bad about Ponanos, I mean, say that one more time for the slow people in the back.
Oh, fromage. That's the French word for cheese. So, so I've lived in a bunch of different spaces, and I've had the opportunity to lead and develop teams, as well as really structure the HR pieces for recruiting for my teams, recruiting for our companies, recruiting for multiple types of divisions and positions. So I'm really excited to be here today and share the knowledge that I have, and also learn from others on the show today.
All right, we have our co-host is having trouble with the link. Now, this is where I tell you the same thing I told you in the chat room. Don't click on the duck. Click on the link, but I will send it to you again, Lisa. And maybe it's just because, the frozen tundra. I don't know. But anyways, hang on a second. I'll get that to you. So you just mentioned some powerhouses.
Yeah.
Campbell, Nestle, Walmart, Fumage. I don't know. I might say that.
The cheese guys.
You've worked for really impressive folks, right? But the part that maybe people didn't hear you, so I just want to make sure the reason you're here is not because you've worked for all those major corporations, although that's impressive. Your resume is very impressive, but I know you as a veteran, primarily job search coach. You have helped thousands of people for free, right?
Yeah.
You volunteered to do this through organizations that I'm familiar with to help them transition from military to civilian life, and a lot of experience. So if you guys are looking for somebody to help coach you, this is why Sheila's here. Look, I'm just gonna put it out there for everybody to see. It's how I roll. This doesn't surprise anybody who knows me. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Okay, I know hundreds, if not thousands, of career coaches. All right, running Project Help You Grow has provided this platform for me to meet so many. I could have invited any of them, and I invited Sheila for a reason. I trust her. I respect her. She's not a novice. Okay, she's been doing this for a long time, so that's why she's here. So there you go, Sheila. Knuckle bump. Good job.
Thanks, man.
Sheila and Kelly and Lisa are all going to have a segment in the future. It's going to be about 5 minutes long. We're not going to hold them their feet to the fire, so it might be 4 minutes, might be 6 minutes, or whatever. But they are going to bring up each week topics that are relevant in their space to give you guys some helpful information. So if you're, like Cynthia here, and you're asking for help, this is how we're going to help you. We're going to give you information. We're going to talk about relevant things, and we're going to answer questions. Okay. So very good. I'm doing good. Hope you're doing good too, Muhammad. Thank you very much for joining us. We have 32 people right now, ladies, on LinkedIn alone. I don't know what we've got on YouTube and Facebook at the moment because I'm not watching those, but it's good to have so many of you here with us. We're going to introduce now our Philly lady, who is extremely happy, if nothing else, because those darn Eagles just mopped the floor with the Niners this weekend. And man, you guys are going back to the Super Bowl.
We are.
Now, I got to tell you, I'm excited because this year, 2022, I got to spend a week with Fletcher Cox on his ranch in just outside of Dallas in Texas. That's where he lives in his off time. So I got to know him. I got to tease him a little bit, and trust me, that was putting my life in my hands. Because if you know who Fletcher Cox is, he's huge, and if you know who I am, I'm not. We look like Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito a little bit there. Yeah, he's a big guy. But I'll tell you this about Fletcher Cox if you don't know. He was raised in Mississippi. He's one of the most humble people I ever met. This guy was clearing my plate. I just thought that was amazing, like testimony to
Wow.
the guy's personality. Super good. So I am pulling for the Eagles to do it again for Fletcher Cox. So there you go. Okay, and here you go, Kelly. To your question, do you have anybody from Philly? Chaz Mitchell is from Westchester. So there you go.
Oh, hi, Chaz. I
Yeah,
live right in I just moved to Valley Forge Mountains, so I'm your neighbor.
there you go.
I
And I'll be
live
out
in-
your way in April, Kelly. So maybe we could get together.
You know who else is going to be here in April? Alone, Zybert.
Alone. Ooh.
I would love to. Yeah.
Yeah, I have not met Alone in person. So Alone is a really good guy. From Israel originally, but he lives down, I believe, in Georgia, if I remember
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
okay. Hey, guess what? Lisa Jones is coming in. So we're gonna get her in just a minute as soon as her camera is on. Nope, she popped in and popped
Yep.
out. Lisa,
I
it was like that State Farm commercial. You were this close. All right, Kelly.
I
While
can I give you a fun fact?
yeah, for sure, and then we're gonna go into your intro.
All right, fun fact though. Um, um, Andy. Oh my God, why can't I remember his last name? Who was our coach for years? The Eagles coach. He's the Chiefs coach. Andy.
Andy
Oh,
Reid.
Reed.
Oh my God, I can't remember. Okay, so
Yeah,
long
yeah.
gone, right? But Andy fired Nick Sirianni in 2013,
Wow.
and Andy was our coach forever. So, whoop, isn't that funny? All right.
It
So-
happens. It happens.
And now they're coming up. So I guess this is exciting. Okay.
It is exciting. I'm excited for Philly because look, there's a few teams out there that when they're doing well, I just think the sports are better. Like I hate the Yankees, but when the Yankees are good, it adds that
Yeah.
I'm gonna get hate mail now. How can you hate the Yankees? Look, you guys spend 10 times what my team spends. That's why I hate you. Anyways, I'm just jealous. That's what it is. But the Eagles in football certainly I think are one of those teams. So there we go. All right, Kelly Robinson. I am from India, so I'm trying to get new opportunities to create wonders in the world. That's a good thing.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that for sure. Rayudo. I hate butchering people's names, but I always try. So there we go. Rayudo. Thank you for watching. We appreciate having you on. Kelly, let's do this. Let's give 90 seconds on not you. We're gonna get back to you in a minute. We're gonna go PKR first, and then we'll come back to you. So, and I'm gonna pull up your website while you're doing that. And if you want me to navigate anywhere on there, just let me know, and I will do it. But oops.
No, anything.
Here we go.
Anything's fine.
You know, I'll pull it up at the top.
One more thing to share. When the Eagles are doing well, literally they start shutting down Broad Street and everything here because it goes nuts, and they grease the poles. Do you guys know this?
Yeah, so they don't climb up and break them. Yeah.
Dylan knows this. Yeah. They literally grease the poles, and there's still crazy pictures of people just.
Don't ask me how I know that, but I do know that.
This is like, yeah, this is so like, our people, and that's I'm right there with them.
Passion.
So,
it's passion.
it is. It's a lot of passion here.
That's what you need to make a good cheesesteak. You need some passion.
That's right. So I'm the CEO of PK Recruiting. So we started as Ponanos and have recently rebranded to PK Recruiting, short PKR. We're still working on that. But so what we do is we serve as like a professional services firm for companies specific to their hiring and recruiting. So where you have professional services firm that goes in and, focuses on like accounting and finance, we go in and focus on recruiting and hiring. So we actually, we help to build processes and create efficiencies along the way, but that's not all we do. We literally are a recruiting company. So companies hire us to manage all or part of their recruiting as part of their team. So it's a flat monthly fee. There's no commissions. There's no one's incentivized to get bodies in or per head. So it's predictable, it's cost effective, and it's something that companies can use on and off, so they can scale in and scale out. They can scale up and scale down.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I got to hide the comment so you can see my face. I love that about your company. I was just talking to somebody and I told them to get a hold of you for this reason, because they were like, well, in our industry, uh, there's a lot of turnover. You bring people in, but they don't tend to stick. They don't make it, and so then you're constantly hiring more, and that's why they didn't want to go with a recruiter. I'm like, that's exactly the reason why you should go with a recruiter, and you can go with a recruiter like Kelly, and PK. I say PKR.
Yeah.
You can go with PKR because that's their model is not about how many times they fill the seat. It's about filling the seat with the right people. So they work with you. And anyways, I don't know if you reached out to or not, but I told them to. So there you go. Well, I love your model. I love the way that you have built this thing out. So now that people know a little bit about, I'm going to try to do it right. Ponanose. There we go. You know what it is. It reminds me of Grey Poupon. Like I'm not fancy enough to say it right.
You could just say Grey Poupon and the cheese over there. We got cheese and we got
right.
They go together well, right?
You guys are getting an idea of how sophisticated my brain works now. Here we go. All right.
That's yummy.
I like this guy. Rayudo, don't stop coming, brother. I love the energy, and we really appreciate you being here as part of the show. Sheila, I thought I'd pop in for some insider intel. This is the place to be, Tanya. This is the place to be. And if you like Ira jokes, you're gonna get a dose. Because even I'm look, these two are feisty. Lisa Jones and I have a whole different level of feisty relationship. This lady and I, because of Tom Brady, who announced his retirement today, which makes me extremely happy. Extremely happy. As a Raiders fan, that's the last thing I wanted was TB12. Look, I would love to have TB12 like 6 years ago. Okay. It's not against Tom Brady per se. I'm just like, he's the same age as me. It's time for him to retire. All right. So he announced that today, but Lisa Jones, like, that's her favorite player. All right. I'm surprised she's not in the comments yet giving me some crap. So I was going to make her buy a Raiders hat if he went to the team. Anyways, she will tease me mercilessly, just so you know. So that's kind of fun. It adds an extra dynamic. But Kelly, sorry, I got off track. Tell us a little bit about you, your story, how you got into recruiting, and so that way people understand kind of where you're coming from on this journey. So we have the premise of the show, in case you guys missed it, right, with rounding the bases, and why I came up with that particular name was we have a resume writer. That's Lisa Jones. She also does CVs, by the way. That's one of the reasons why I picked her. Again, I know a lot of resume writers. In fact, I'm probably closer with one resume writer that y'all know really well. I didn't bring him on the show because of the CV part. That was the tiebreaker. Like we have a lot of, as you've seen, people from India and people from the UK. They don't use resumes over there; they use CVs. So I wanted somebody who could answer questions across both sides of that aisle. So Lisa Jones gets to tease me. And good morning from Nashville, Chris. Chris is a really good guy. All right.
Hey, Chris.
But rounding the bases, resume writing, CV, resume or CV, right? We have a career coach with a lot of experience. We have a recruiter with the heart of gold. And then there's me. I don't know. Project Help You Grow. I bring the jokes. I don't know what I do. But I run a job search board, right? So that's where we cover all the ends. Like if you have questions about any part of it, we can address it. Now, I'm not saying that we have all the answers because, there's 4 smart people, but I don't necessarily know that we have everything. But certainly much better than just me by myself, right? So there we go. All right, Kelly. So the question to you is awesome. Okay, so this job or this show, we're not going to actually be talking about the jobs themselves. Like, Campbell Soup has this position open in this place, and this is what you need. We're not doing that. But if you have a question about how to find a job or research or, interview prep or how to write the resume or how to network, that's something I can help you with, right? So there's things that we can help you with along the job search itself. But we're not specifically going to be advertising. Like we're not going to have a segment like, hey, did you know this job's open in this place? We're not going to do that. That's just with the global audience, it's too hard to do that. So if you have a specific question, that we would love to hear it. And
but go to pkrecruiting.com. I have on careers, we have all of our, for now, and it's not looking so good, but we have our openings.
Yeah, for sure. I totally encourage people to do that because even if you don't find something for yourself, imagine this. You're on a job board and you're looking at jobs and you find a job that you think your friend or someone would be perfect for and you send it to them. that will help you build your relationship with that person. And the odds are they're going to do something. It may not be find a job listing and send it back to you, but it might be. But, you know, whether you call it karma or reaping what you sow, because I know a lot of people use both. I use reaping what you sow, obviously. But, you know, what you put out there is what you can expect to get back. So many of us believe that. I think because it makes sense, right? So go to PKR or it's pananose.com. We'll put that in the, I don't have that ready today, but I'll put a banner up. Eventually it'll have these websites that flash on the bottom. But put that website in, go to her job board and look and see what they've got available. Absolutely. All right, Kelly, I keep cutting you off. So I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
How did you get in the recruiting space?
So I've been in this space 25 years and in all different facets. So I started in
impressive because she's only 28, folks. So she started at 3.
No, I'm a genius.
There you go.
I don't know if recruiting makes me a genius. Actually, let's back that up. So I started in like contract hiring for IT. So I was doing like commission-based hiring, where the recruiters typically have like a base salary and then some kind of commission when they place people at clients. And so I was doing that. I did that for about 6 years, IT, and then started a clinical division, and then moved in-house to an HR position. That was not me. Most people confused. If you say you do recruiting, they're like, oh, you do HR. Nope. HR is huge. I do the recruiting piece of HR. And that's what I specialize in, right? We're experts in recruiting. And then I moved to another company where I was managing partner for many years. And then I got fired. So I started my own thing. I got fired on a Friday morning and started my own thing on Monday. Not unlike my friend here, Ira.
I was gonna say that's exactly my story. And you were there to watch that, right? So you watched that happen in real time.
Yeah.
Right.
No brainer for you to be on your own. So yeah.
But let's talk about that because that's interesting. And there are people, look, I wrote an article on Project Help You Grow, and I can bring it up if you guys want, called Fractional Work a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my idea. My idea was I never want to be in the position where any one person can take away my whole income again. Right. And I really didn't understand this idea of passive income. And I know there's other ways to do this to insulate yourself. And you can certainly do it with passive income. But my thought was, well, I'm going to break up my services into, chunks of 25%. That's what I was thinking. So no one person would be more than 25% of my revenue. And that way, if I lost them as a client, I was only down 25%, not 100%. Now, if you want to explore that idea, I can share the fractional, blog article that I wrote on it and how I do it. But what were you thinking? So over the weekend, you were in this space, you got laid off. And then over the weekend, you thought about it and you're like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to launch out on my own. Walk us through that a little bit.
Friday morning, I just say what happened. Friday morning, I had a call scheduled with my CEO, who was my boss, right? But I was managing partner. So I got a call and she says, hold on, Kelly. And HR comes on. And I was like, what? I am running this company. So the first thing I did is I just listened. I took all the notes down and I made the decision that I was not going to leave my team. So they would have to tell the company, because everyone reported to me. They would have to tell the company that it was their decision, because I would never leave my team.
Yeah.
So we made that decision. And then
hang on just 1 second. Chaz, this is recorded. So it'll be on Project Help You Grow. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be, I believe, on some of the other websites as well. So it's definitely going to be recorded. All right, go ahead. So you decided to make them make this announcement.
Yeah, there was zero way I was going to leave my team, and my team needed to know that. So I made that decision, and she said, "You're done now." I was like locked out of everything. And so that day there was a tattoo convention in Philly. So my boyfriend at the time took me down there. We had some drinks. No tattoos, but we had some.
Okay. Not enough encouragement to.
I had no. Well, I have a lot of I do have a lot of tattoos, but So I needed that day to do nothing and just decompress, because it is a trauma when you're working somewhere for so long, 13 years running the company.
Yeah.
You think your job's not in jeopardy. Let me just tell you something. It's your job's always in jeopardy. So, and that's what, like Ira, I work for myself, like you were saying, like it's what I do now. It's on me, right? And I'd rather have it on me than in someone else's hands. So I knew I was going to start something because I can't work for anyone else. I just knew I couldn't. I knew I couldn't, and I wanted to do things my way, which I wasn't always able to do either.
Tanya
Yeah,
felt the same.
yeah.
Tanya felt the same way. Look, anybody who's gone through this experience, have you ever been laid off, Sheila?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get it, right? When you get laid off, it is a gut punch that is hard to explain if you've never. Look, I was laid off because of the pandemic. It wasn't like I was underperforming, right? So it
Yeah.
was the first time in my career I had ever, I've never been fired before. I'd never been laid off. It was the first. There was this thing. I love to explain it this way, Kelly. I had a veneer of safety, thinking that my job was safe as long as I performed above, whatever their expectation was. And you guys know me, I burn really hot, so that's not a problem. So when that happened to me, I was like, well, why would I ever put myself in that position again? You know what I mean? Like, why would I want to give somebody that control where they can take everything from me? Because it was 100%. Like, I went from having what I thought was job security, and I was able to pay all my bills, and I had my benefits and all that stuff. I was in my mind, I came to this particular company that laid me off with the mindset that I was going to work there for 20 years and retire. That was the mindset coming in. And I lasted 5 months and got laid off.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I put my heart and soul into that company, right? I took it from 500,000 to 5 million, and it's a big company. It's small, but it was a big company with 45 people.
Yeah.
And so I ran everything. Unless you are your job, you don't control your employment. That's right, Damon.
Yeah,
That's right.
I love that. Look, if you guys don't know who Damon is, Damon is a partner in a company called Exit Your Way. They help people improve their bottom line and then exit for what they are looking to exit with. He's a really, really smart guy.
Yeah.
First time laid off really hurt. Still remember the day it happened to me. There you go. I even knew it was coming and it was tough. Yeah. I thought I was not going to get laid off, actually.
So, Ira, I think one of the
That's a great question, actually. I don't know if you guys want to tackle this. This is really, we have one other question. Sabrina, just to be fair, let me come back to that. Here's a question that we had first. I like to go in order. How can we grow our network and how can we get job-related opportunities? I don't know if you guys saw my post yesterday, but I will tell you the most simple strategy I can give anybody is you need to be more active in comments. What you're doing right here, Mamina, think about this. Let's just talk math real quick. You could make a post, and no offense, but your post is going to be seen by what, 1,000 people, a couple thousand people, whatever. Just today, this comment, we're at 26 people. We're going to probably be seen by the end of the day by about 2,600 to 3,500 people just on LinkedIn alone. And that doesn't include how many people will see it on my YouTube, how many people will see it on my Facebook, how many people will see it on Project Help You Grow, which gets a lot of traffic. And then, by the way, I have about 500,000 followers now on social media, and I'm going to make posts about this. Your comment right here, I parked on you, is going to be visible by a lot of people. And that's just one comment that you made today. It took you, what, 5 seconds to write the comment? So here's the thing. So many people are worried about making this, becoming some type of content creator like me. Look, I create graphics for a living, guys. I've been doing it for decades. This is not new for me, right? You're not going to learn, or no offense to people who use Canva, but you're not going to go into Canva today and create something that I would create, So competing in that space is kind of hard unless you're like an expert at it. But you don't have to be an expert to make a comment. And you can make a comment that adds value. You can make a comment that asks a question and continues the conversation. If you are honest with yourselves about why we are on social media, most of you are going to admit this to yourself eventually. You want people to engage back with you. You're not just trying to say, you could say, I don't care about numbers. I don't care. Blah. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because otherwise you wouldn't take the time to write the content, right? You want people to respond. So if you just think about that, what you want, and give that to other people, right? I want people to engage with my posts. I want people to talk to me and tell me, what's going on, and become friends. Well, that's what everybody wants for the most part. So just do that. Be a good friend. Zig Ziglar said it this way. Zig Ziglar, if you don't know who he is, look him up. He's a brilliant, brilliant person. He's no longer with us, but he was brilliant. He said that this way: if you want to get what you want, all you have to do is help enough other people get what they want.
Yeah.
So if you want comments and you want visibility, give it to others and watch what happens. I promise you, I'm friends with Sheila. I'm friends with Kelly. And look, now they're on a show with me. From not knowing who I was, meeting in the comments of a post, and to today we're on a show together. All happened because of comments on social media.
Well, and Ira, like you and I became friends and you really helped me, right? I was probably at like 5,000 on LinkedIn or something, 4,000, right? So you helped me with understanding the importance of engaging and growing, growing your network.
Yeah. If you don't understand why it's important, watch my TEDx talk. I will explain it. But how you get job opportunities out of that, because this is the job part of it, right? Look, when I make a post, it can be seen by 1 million people. Why? Because I built my network. That's why. And I will tell you, the day that I launched Bowman Digital Media, I made a post. I said, imagine what you would do if you had 150,000 followers on LinkedIn and how you would leverage that. Now and then I said, now imagine that you could hire somebody to do that for you without having to build the apparatus. And I got a bunch of owners of businesses that reached out to me that day and said, yeah, I want access to that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Bowman Digital Media really got started. You can get job opportunities because people see you on LinkedIn. It's a top of mind world, right? It's not that most of us are out there thinking bad things about people. I know people feel that way. Like, oh, they don't like me. They don't respect me, whatever. It's like, no, you know what it is? Honestly, they're not even thinking about you. They're thinking about their own self, their own problems. So how do you get them to think about you is you've got to show up. You've got to be visible. So building that network creates the opportunity for all of this. Whether you're looking for work, you're looking for clients, you're looking to have investors, you want to sell a book, you want coaching clients, you want, companies to hire your recruiting firm, whatever it is that you're looking to do, I promise you one of the foundational things is increasing your visibility. You've got to do it. And LinkedIn works differently than every other platform. Again, watch my TED Talks and I'll explain why. But okay, I've said a lot. Sheila, we're going to go to you. And Kelly, we're going to let you wrap up this question. Then we're going to go to the next question.
Sure. I think when it comes to the networking in particular, I'm just going to throw an analogy out here. Be in the game, right? Be in the game. If you are in an industry of supply chain, or you're in the industry of finance, or whatever the industry you're in, like live it, breathe it, and be very visible in it. And that in it could look like commenting. It could look like posting. It could look like sharing companies that are part of your industry. It could be tagging people that are actually part of those companies. And Ira knows that I do this because I've been in the job space for a long time. There's times that I am very, very active and I'm posting jobs very, very rapidly on LinkedIn. And that's for exposure and to help people see different things. But what I do when I'm doing that is very strategic. I come back in, I look at the available jobs, then I open up the company that I'm actually going to feature. And then I pick an HR recruiter, I pick a top line manager, or I pick a manager of the department or area that I have people available to work in. So a while ago, I posted this post about Crocs. Crocs is a shoe company, and I was all bent on trying to get people to go work at Crocs. So what did I do? I went out, I looked at their company, I looked at some of their strategic planning, I looked at some of the shoes, I went out and I took pictures of the shoes, and I built this messaging out there, and I featured for a week Crocs jobs. Mm-hmm. I identified like 5 to 6 different people in the Crocs company. Some of those were in the supply chain area, some of them were in finance. And guess what? Do you know how many people sent me messages from the company to my IM and asked me to, be part of their network? It was like 20 people. So just for me featuring Crocs, and it was coming from a place of heart, meaning that I knew this company, I know the business, I know there's amazing jobs available with the Crocs company. Let me feature them. It was from my heart that I featured it. And in the end, I made a bunch of contacts with this company. And ultimately, now I've got a network in the Crocs company. It's like amazing, right?
Absolutely. Look, networking and talking. One thing that you didn't mention there, and I hate to steal Kelly's thunder because she might have said it, but groups is another way, right? So if you just go back through the list of things that Shiela just said, right? Commenting, posting, tagging, which means the little at symbol and then people's names, right? Adding them to the story, sharing things, being networking events, being part of groups that are in that space, because now you start to build your influence and your visibility in the space that you're actually trying to live and breathe in. It's not that you need to ignore everybody. You want to have a little bit, and I teach this, right? You want to have people from a diverse group. So people from all around the world, people in different industries for a variety of reasons. But the niche is still important. The vertical market is still important. So you want to gain your influence in that area by talking about and participating in events
Yeah.
and in groups that are in that space. Michael just said this, something that I always encourage. Project Help You Grow was actually launched with this premise. Let's help each other build. It wasn't even, Kelly remembers, it wasn't even about the job at first. It was about the network, building the network so that you could get a job out of it, right? But then we turned and focused our attention on the job search relatively quickly after just like 6 weeks. We kind of said, okay, we're going to take this project and reshape it a little bit. But Kelly, anything that you want to add to this conversation? Let me pull up the question one more time just so that it's fresh in your brain, to be fair. She says, how can we grow our network and how to get job related opportunities?
So you can post as much as you want, but if you don't have anyone actually looking at those posts,
doesn't help. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just had a conversation with my team this morning. I'm like, we've got all these PKR Facebook posts, but like, it doesn't matter, right? So we're working on that. But you have to go after people in your industry. So if you're growing, you have to grow the network simultaneously to put content out there, engage. But you've got to go in and sort through LinkedIn and target people, industry, location, certain positions. That way, the right people are going to see.
I put this up yesterday. I'm just,
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Yeah. So that's the right people will see then all of the other things that Shiela was talking about, right? So as long as you have the right audience there and they're engaging and you can get them going, then they'll actually notice you.
Let me give you guys one more tip. Okay. Shiela referenced the company Croc, and it could be any company. Let's say, this could be true for PKR or Bowman Digital Media or Wicked Results, SRS Resume Writing Services is the other one with Lisa Jones. It could be any company out there. I've had people like this go, hey, who do you know at LinkedIn? Or who do you know at Google? Or who do you know at, you fill in the blank. And if I knew for a fact, like my dream job was to work as a marketing professional inside Google, what I would recommend is making friends with people at Google. How do you do that? Well, you can start on the company page and go to employees and then go through, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands, right? So then what you want to start doing is going for titles.
Yeah.
I do want to find somebody in HR. I do want to find somebody that's in marketing, obviously. But now I'm looking for people. I'm kind of like, I hate to use this word stalker because it sounds like a bad thing, but think about it this way, like an investigative journalist. Okay. And I do have my press credential now. I'm so excited by that. Anyways, who's on LinkedIn on a regular basis, who's making comments? It's hard to build a relationship if they never post or if they never comment, right? So you got to find who in the company is actually active. And then what you do is you don't send them a friend request. You don't send them a direct message, say, I really want to work for your company. They don't care. You know why they don't care? Because they don't know you yet, right? So what you do instead, here's the strategy. Figure out who's active, follow them. Don't send them a connection request, follow them. And you want to hit their bell, right? So when they make a post, you get that notification. And then what you want to do is go play with them in the comment section. And when I mean play with them, I mean make value-added, positive comments. Don't come
Right.
out and smack of desperation. Too many of you are like, "Hey, I've been unemployed for 2 years," and it's kinda like this. If you wanna get somebody to date you, you don't tell them you have no other options. I'm just trying to put it out there in a way that people will get this,
I
right?
need this advice. Tell me. Keep going.
Catch this, right? If you're readily available to do anything for anybody and work anywhere, you're not desirable. You know what people really want? They want the one that's hard to get. They want the one that everybody wants. So you don't come across like, hey man, I really need a job. I'll do anything. I'll move anywhere. I know somebody's not serious about a job search when I ask them what they want to do and where they want to do it, and they say, I'll do anything anywhere. I'll work anywhere. Great.
Mhm.
That doesn't help me. Because I will tell you this, if you're trying to get sponsorship and you want to go from this country to that country, you're not going to get it as a generalist. You're just not. Why? Because the market is full of generalists. You know who
Mhm.
people get sponsored for? They get sponsored for being a specialist. You've got
Mhm.
to really be something that isn't entry level, and you've got to be something that is in high demand in that area, in low supply in that area. That's what it really takes. It's just economics, frankly. Okay? But if you can build a relationship with folks in the comment section, become friends with them. Don't send them a connection request. Let them send it to you
Yep.
and show them through your posts as you engage over time through your content that you're an expert, that
Mhm.
you're smart at this, you've added value to this. Now they'll get the bright idea because almost all of these large companies, Kelly, you can verify that this is true, have some type of employee bonus or
Mhm.
incentive program
Yep.
for referrals, for
Mhm.
internal referrals and external referrals. This is something that's so common in large companies. So you become friends with them, you demonstrate your value, you don't ask them for a job, you don't come off smack with desperation, and watch what happens as they get $500, $100, $1,000 an extra day of vacation. I've seen companies do all this and more
Mhm.
for helping the HR folks staff a position, right?
Yep.
It's so common in these large companies. So it's just a completely different shift from, hey, I'm not saying you can't be desperate. I'm saying you can't come off as desperate.
Right.
This is your poker face. All right. I really want a boyfriend. Great. Don't let anybody know that. You know the best thing to do when you want a boyfriend, Kelly? Tell everybody you want to take a year off.
I'm
I'm not
taking a
gonna
year off, everyone. A
I'm
year
not
off.
gonna date anybody for a year, right?
No
Now what did you
problem.
just do? You just made it like now, like, ooh, I know she said she was gonna take a year off, but I'll bet you my charm will win her over. Look, I'm telling you, I've been pretty good at sales for a long time, and I understood this about sales. Nobody wants to buy something that has no value. You have to increase your value. You have to demonstrate your value. And that's where most of you are making your mistake on LinkedIn or networking, the way you network. You're coming across smack desperate. And if you think about it, you wouldn't want it either. You'd be like, I could get that anytime I want. A
Ira,
free agent, a free agent in sports who sits for weeks is going to sit for the season, right? If they
Right.
don't get that market right away, and drive that price up, then they're going to go for a discount only, if they become a last resort. So there we go.
Right.
there's a Ira, there's a difference between passion and sense of urgency and then desperation. There's a difference, big difference.
100%. And Marie's point here is completely true. It's like she's been
Yeah.
following me for a while. Look,
Mhm.
you build it when you don't need it so that when
Mhm.
you do need it, it's there. Again, this is another mistake that a lot of job seekers are making. They only use LinkedIn when they're trying to find a job. It's like, dude, if you build these relationships when you have a job, and think
Mhm.
about what I just said, the strategy I just said, you add value, you should demonstrate value while you have a job. That's part of how you demonstrate your value. If you work for a company, especially a larger company with a title that isn't, entry level, they look at you different. I will tell you, digital media, my business is successful, okay? But it isn't the same thing as working for like Gary V's Vander Media, right? If I owned and operated Vander Media, people would look at me differently. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If I was the CMO of Google, people would look at me differently than as the owner of Bowman Digital Media. Would I know anything different? Probably not, because I'm a nerd. I study this stuff every day. All right. But people, because of that title, that company would look at me different. So when you have a job, to Marie's point, it's a great time to network. It is a great time to network. All right. So we're going to move on from this question. There was another question from Sabrina, who is one of my very first interns. She worked with me at Project Help You Grow. I love this lady. And if you're looking for talent, y'all should try to hire Sabrina, because I'm telling you, she is a rock star. Her mentality, her work ethic, love everything about her. She's down in Southern Florida. She's in Florida. So there you go. She says, with the current state of massive layoffs, why are companies still so afraid of job hoppers and side hustles? Even before the layoffs, Kelly, this is something that I was curious about, because, it seems like the magic number is 4 years. I'll let you speak on this because it's more your expertise than mine. But it seems like the magic number is about 4 years. If you're 4 years, that's about the right time. If you're longer than 4 years, they think you're a career person, and they're afraid, like, I don't know, that you're not going to leave that place. And if you're less than, 2 years, you're a job hopper and nobody wants to hire you, like you're toxic. So talk to us about that. What do you think?
It's a generational thing, right? So that's changing, because no one does what I did. Like I was 13 years at a company, and that was like, people are like, whoa.
Yeah, and now you're a lifer, right? They see you, they go like, why are you shifting?
Yeah, it's the whole market is evolving as different generations come in. So one thing I've noticed is recently there's a lot more open-mindedness to it. So we started with one of our clients. This guy was with the company for a long time, almost 10 years. And he would only hire people that had longevity. And we kept saying to him, like, you really should consider people that have had some different opportunities, because they learn faster and go to different places. And he kept saying no. And then finally, he actually left. And he said his reason for leaving was he's with one company for too long. He didn't feel like he was learning enough. And so he's opened his mind to that.
Yeah.
And so I think if you can get people to understand, either people are making moves on their own because they're trying to grow themselves, or this market is tough, right? They're getting laid off for no reason.
Right.
There's overhiring in tech, right? There's a lot of that. It's just about educating the hiring managers, and that's our job, like in recruiting, in HR. That's our job, to really make sure that our hiring managers are educated on that.
100%. That's 100%, right? So, Shiela, what would you add to this, right? So the question is, with the layoffs, why are people still afraid of folks that have worked for 3 or less years? Why do they treat them as they're toxic?
So I think the first thing is, what is the cycle of performance for that individual? I think if you're in the company for 1 year, it's very difficult for you to make a tangible contribution that can be measured. In the second year is when what you are coming into the company to do starts to get some jelly around it. And by the third year, there's some cement. So what that means is, you come into the company, you get acclimated, you start to learn your job, you start to know what you're doing. In the second year, it's really about you performing, right? And by the third year, you have documented results. So if you are having a hard time getting that established, then the hop may be too fast, because you haven't been able to make a tangible contribution to a company. So if you're doing this without the tangible results, then you are moving maybe too fast in order to create the value and the uplift that you need for your career. So I've seen it many times, and I ask people, hey, why did you leave this job? And I feel it and I hear it. But what they're telling me is not really what happened.
Yeah.
Telling me something that they think I want to hear, but I'm very experienced in this. I'm very knowledgeable about it. And as soon as I see an 18-month switch, I'm like, so tell me what's going on here. They're like, well, I delivered it. I'm like, well, I don't think that's the real story. So believe me, I'm on the other side of the fence. I've listened to 18,000+ people tell me.
Here's your second chance to tell the truth, bro.
You might as well tell the truth, because if there's someone like me on the other side of the table, I'm going to read right through you.
All right, we got 2 really good questions from Matthew. The STAR method. Now, the STAR method I actually learned from my good friend who passed away. But for those of you who are not familiar with the STAR method, I actually do spell that out on Project Help You Grow. Kirsty Bonner is again the one who I learned this from. Hang on a second. I'm going to pull it up. It's a good one. She used to talk about STAR all the time. Oh, and I actually don't have it on my, okay, never mind. I don't have that one on there. She had CAR and STAR. So the STAR method, are you guys familiar with this? Do you want to talk about this one? And then we're going to come back to, he's got another question about volunteering that I want to get to too. But Matthew has good questions. So let's see. For interviews, the STAR method is still the preferred format for answering behavioral questions. Shiela is amazing. I agree.
So let me take a quick crack at this, and then we can pass the baton around a little bit. I still see a lot of companies.
This is Chaz chiming in and helping us too. So in case you're not familiar with it, there's the acronym for your situation, task, action, result.
Right. So I'm still seeing a lot of companies that are seeking information about employees by using the STAR method. And what I coach, train, and support is being able to tell your story. Sometimes it's very difficult for people to get their success out. So by using the STAR method, it helps you and helps the employer understand what your contribution has been. Now, the challenge with this is a lot of people think that you need 100 different situations, but that's not what I help people get to. I help them get to 4 or 5 situations in which they can pivot the content to answer the behavior question. Because technically, any of those questions can live in a space of, tell me about your decision making. Tell me about a time that you had to implement a judgment call. Tell me a time that it was ethical. Tell me a time that you had to, discipline a person or give a performance review. But in this process, when you're doing this, if you create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 good stories about the things that you've really done, you can move those around very successfully in any of the interviewing opportunities that you get. So I feel like the STAR is still very active out there. I feel like being able to walk through it, the situation, the task, the action, and the result. I tell people 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes to answer this question. If you get confused between the situation, the task, and the action, go to the result. Companies want to know what you delivered, bottom line. So stick in that space and then go from there.
Yeah, the S and the R are really, to me, the most important too there. But I will say this is my cautionary tale for STAR. If you're going to give one answer using the STAR method and take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, right? You better make sure that story answers the question specifically, right? Yeah. This is the hard part about STAR, right? You're taking a big chunk of time and you don't look, you could try to do 4 or 5 of them, string them together, but you're not going to you're going to lose them, right? So to keep your audience, you got to keep it brief. And the STAR, just make sure this is why you practice your interview.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You got to know, like, when they go here, I'm going there. When they go here, I'm going there. And if it isn't one that, if it's a question that came at you from left field, don't be afraid to ask a question in response.
Yeah.
Right. And you could tell them, like, look, I could talk about this or I could talk about that. Which would you like to hear about more? You know what I mean? And answer the question that way. I think too many people don't answer questions with questions. Sometimes clarifying with a question is better than making a statement that misses the mark. Kelly, what do you think here?
I think even better than that, if you're going to use the STAR method, at the end, you need to say to the interviewer, did I answer your question? Is there anything else that you want to know about that I can, because STAR method, no STAR method, to me, it's all about productivity and results and what the person is actually doing.
Yeah, the R at the end of the day, look,
I don't care. Yeah.
They want to know how your experience is going to help them, right? They have a problem. They're trying to resolve the problem by hiring somebody new. They want to know what you can do to help them resolve that problem. Right?
That's it.
All right. Let's go. We're going to do this in the opposite order. We're going to have Kelly go first on this one because we've got like 3 minutes left, guys, unless we go into bonus time. But the question was, so we'll just do like a 20-second answer here. Would you recommend volunteer work as well to gain experience, like, for example, an internship?
Yep. Yeah. And even shadowing, right? So if there's somewhere that you want to work, something that you want to learn about, digital media, right? Creating graphics and things like that. You go ask Ira, can I shadow you for a day? And then can I do work for you for free for a week or 2 weeks?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
huge.
Matthew, in full disclosure, he participated in my internship program, so he's well aware of what I do. But we talk about that on Project Help You Grow a lot. Like, go volunteer at one
Yeah.
of these philanthropies, soup kitchen, it doesn't matter. If you want to get in marketing and you can get a nonprofit to let you run their social media page, now guess what? Your resume is not blank. You have a portfolio. Doesn't matter that you weren't paid.
Totally. Nope. Totally. And it depends on who's hiring, right? If they're going to consider that. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
right.
You're probably not going to go to work for Google after volunteering, but
Amazon's not going to be like, oh, okay, that's great. Come right in. Right. But
yeah, 100%. All right, Sheila, what would you say? Sheila's been volunteering for years. So
What I'm going to say is this: every volunteer experience I have gotten has strengthened me or educated me in an area that I was not familiar with.
yeah.
And I learned a lot of stuff from, volunteering for a recon job company in Camden, New Jersey, reskilling inmates for employment in Atlantic City. I learned a lot from the Animal Welfare Association. I learned a lot from Sheepdog IA. I've learned a lot from the STEM process. And I also have a relationship with Matthew through Vets to Industry.
Right.
In all of those volunteer experiences, I learned, I met people, I gained incredible knowledge about the industries and pieces and parts that they were connected to. And as a result, it lifted me up and gave me like a broader perspective of things beyond just my job and just my friends. So I would say that, seek it. And when you're seeking it, start at whatever level you feel like it. But if you feel like you have a contribution that can be higher, then go for it, because nonprofits are looking for people to help them. And you wouldn't believe the value that it can bring to you, but also what you're bringing to the nonprofit. I think that's the other part. Is it's a double-sided coin here. What you get and what you give. And
let me add to that too. I volunteered for places and met people that then became a private opportunity, a separate opportunity, because of the relationships I built while I was volunteering. I didn't go to volunteer there to meet people necessarily. I went there for experience or whatever, or just to help. But those things, it's amazing what can happen with volunteer work, right?
Yeah.
We have got to run really quickly. So we have one more question I did want to answer. I felt bad. We only had one we didn't answer. So what do you feel are some of the top ways to differentiate yourself from the thousands of other people applying for the same job? Let me just tell you this. The thousands of people that are applying, most of them are not following the ATS rules. So you're not really competing with thousands of people, because they're going to be in a situation like this. Tell me if I'm wrong, Kelly, but I don't know anybody that's getting thousands of resumes or applications that isn't using an ATS at this point, right? So your formatting in your ATS is one very significant way to get yourself to actually be seen by a real person. You've got to get, people call it different things, but there's a point system. You've got to get to the top to be above the cut line, is how I express it. You got to get, they're not going to look at 1,000 resumes. They're just not. That's why they have the ATS, to help weed it out. So if you want to be seen, differentiate yourself, make sure you understand what the ATS fundamentally has for rules, because it's 10,000 plus programs. It isn't one singular program, right? But there is a baseline of general rules that people follow. I have an article. We don't have time to get into it. We'll bring it up some other time. I'll cover the ATS next week, okay, for 5 minutes. But here's the deal. That's one way. The other way, again, network. Most of the time, one of my good shows, Foster Williams, runs a show. It's not who you know, it's what you know. I'm sorry, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I did it backwards. Anyways, relationships play a huge part in this. So if you have an ATS-friendly resume and you have done a good job in building your network, there's two very good ways to help you distinguish yourself. Anything you want to add to that, guys?
That's exactly. I was just going to say your network. You can stand out if someone knows your name, like, because the recruiters do have to eyeball everything, right? And some are automatically rejected, but they still eyeball them. So for sure, like if the recruiter knows your name, or, if you're in contact with them, you've been engaging, you can say, I just applied. Can you let me know,
Yeah. And if you had a formatting issue, they could at least tell you.
Yep.
Now, some recruiters I know will actually help you fix it for you if they have time. But certainly if you're using something that breaks their ATS and it shows up as a blank registration, a lot of times, an independent recruiter will fix it for you. But, some of these internal recruiters, because there are internal versus external you have to, there's a lot to the recruiting space, but you want an ATS compliant resume for sure.
And if I could add one thing,
Yeah.
don't wait until your job search to make yourself stand out. Start today.
Yeah.
Like there's a million ways that you can bring visibility to yourself, demonstrate your expertise on social platforms, in meetings like this or shows like this.
Yeah.
Don't wait until you're looking for a job to then decide that you want to be socially visible and an expert in your field. It's you have the opportunity right now to start today.
Well,
right?
you covered this earlier, Sheila, in that industry space where you were posting about content about commenting on things in your vertical space, and I added, groups to that. Like that's the place when you're employed to increase that visibility and to get that foothold as an SME, which is subject matter expert or a thought leader in your space. That's what we're trying to do. Anyways, ladies, we are 3 minutes and 30 seconds over, and I need to get you guys out of here so you can run on to your next appointments. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We're going to have more of this week in and week out. Like I said, next week will be a little bit different because we're going to do these segments. But each week, I promise you, we're going to bring some nuggets to you. We're going to try to cover the entire spectrum, rounding the bases here of the job search. If you have questions and you know what they are ahead of time, you can ask us anytime. When we launch the show, the show will always be on my channel. You can put the questions in before the show even starts, and I'll go through and I'll pick out those questions, and we'll start that way. Ladies, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it.
So fun.
Yeah.
I always love this talking. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay. Well, ta-ta for now, everybody.
Thanks, Ira.
See y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.